Hello, friends. Welcome back to Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. I've been told to come out of hiding, to get off the fence, and talk about the Kylian Mbappe saga around football, especially that now Arsenal are in that spending spree. Arsenal are in that spending region where we can spend maybe 100 million on one single player. So we're gonna be diving into the Kylian Mbappe saga and what I think about it, but then we'll be talking about Ansu Fati and Michael Olise as well, because these are players that I think are more achievable. These are transfers that are more realistic. Ansu Fati from Barcelona to any other club this summer is very attainable. Whether it's on loan or on a permanent, it's very, very attainable. The relationship between Fati, Xavi, and Barca, it seems a little bit weaker than it was probably a year or two ago. So I could see Arsenal pounce on Ansu Fati should an opportunity actually arise. Michael Olise, of course, is one of the realistic targets that any club that wants to sign a right winger or probably a right midfielder could sign this summer. So I'll talk about Olise, Ansu Fati, and Kylian Mbappe. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Now, there is a lot of madness in football. Of course, football is one of the sports that we enjoy because of the madness. There is a lot of drama in football, but this one is one probably for the centuries to remember. Kylian Mbappe. A bid has been made to PSG, and PSG have accepted that bid from Al-Hilal. The offer is 300 million euros for Kylian Mbappe. Discussions will take place between Al-Hilal and Mbappe's camp. The striker wants to stay in Europe. He wants Real Madrid, as we talked about before. The Saudi Arabian side plan to tempt the Frenchman with record wages. It's up to Kylian Mbappe now. Where should Kylian Mbappe go? Okay, so just to clarify, 300 million euros for a player who has 1 year on his contract is crazy. 300 million euros would make him the most expensive player. Al-Hilal will be smashing the transfer record currently for Neymar, which is 222 million euros. So that is where we are. But what is actually crazier, if you thought that was crazy, what is crazier is that Al-Hilal are planning to give Kylian Mbappe 700 million euros per year in terms of wages without tax. So they will give him around 13 million euros per week. That is up to 700 million euros per year without taxes, should a deal materialize. That is what is coming out of the camp of Kylian Mbappe. Now, where Arsenal come in and where Tottenham Hotspur come in and where all these clubs come in, I've been listening to Sky Sport in the last few seconds, and Sky Calve Soliko, has been saying that there are 5 clubs around Europe, excluding Al-Hilal from the Saudi Arabia. There are 5 clubs around Europe that are really thinking about signing Kylian Mbappe. Now that PSG have told the whole market that you can sign him, even on a loan deal. So PSG don't have a problem with letting him go. All they want to do is get him off the wage bill this summer, but also get some good money out of him. So I'm not really sure how the loan deal would be structured. Probably, I think the loan deal is actually looking at Real Madrid. I think the loan deal is targeting Real Madrid. What PSG have done here is they've brought in Saudi Arabia on the table, because Qatar and Saudi Arabia, what's the difference? What's the real difference? Like sports washing and all this kind of stuff, Middle East, partners. So I think they brought Al-Hilal on board. Al-Hilal to make a 300 million euro bid, but of course, Madrid know that is not going to tempt Kylian Mbappe. So they've also added astronomical wages of up to 700 million euros a year. That's not going to happen. We know that. That's not going to happen. Yes, they've given Benzema 200 million euros a year, but I think the maximum they'll offer is around maybe 300 a year, maybe 350 a year. I don't doubt the ability, to spend. I don't doubt the ability that they have the money. I just doubt the ability to the craziness to go 700 million 1 year, and then the deal is over. It's absolutely crazy. So I think what PSG are doing here is they have added that option to take a player on loan so that Madrid can come out of their comfort zone, sign Kylian Mbappe on a loan deal, and commit themselves to pay in excess of at least 100 million euros. That is what they're doing. That is what PSG are doing. So with Cavesolico reporting that 5 clubs are interested in signing Kylian Mbappe, I just don't trust Cavesolico anymore. I loved him a lot probably 2 summers ago. I just don't support him anymore. He's more like a very biased journalist. He calls Kylian Mbappe every day the best player in the world. I don't think Kylian Mbappe is the best player in the world right now. He's so biased in his reporting about Manchester United and a couple of other clubs that he really, really loves. And I think I will punch holes in his report and journalism, because how many clubs can actually really afford Kylian Mbappe? I think Madrid can, Man United can, which I think he supports Man United. Maybe Chelsea can. I'm not really sure. Maybe Chelsea can, can. But for all the clubs to stay within the limits of FFP to sign Kylian Mbappe on astronomical wages for king's ransom, it is something I don't see happen. It is something that Spurs will not do. He talked about Spurs in the same sentence as Kylian Mbappe. He's not serious. He's just not serious. So the issue with Arsenal here is that we have already set out our wish list. Much of that wish list has been confirmed. We have also set out how much we want to spend on wages, and much of that has been spent. So I don't think Arsenal are anywhere close to compromising to add Kylian Mbappe. Of course, every Arsenal fan is going to say, I'll take him, I'll be all over this, but it might have repercussions that drown the club rather than elevate it. We've seen it with FC Barcelona signing all these hundreds of million players, Dembele, Coutinho, Griezmann, and instead of them getting better, they actually sank as a club. So Kylian Mbappe, there have been proposed reports of a swap deal with Martinelli, like I reported in the morning. I said it's nonsensical. It's pure nonsense. I wouldn't even swap Mbappe plus Martinelli plus cash, right? Because what if he comes to Arsenal and he flops? Like that 100 million that we add on top of Gabriel Martinelli could get us a Victor Osimhen, and that massively upgrades on our side. That massively improves our side. Now, don't get me wrong. Kylian Mbappe is maybe the player to beat. He's the player every other club would want to take into their side. And Arsenal are no exception. He's a player we would take at Arsenal, okay? But under different circumstances. Not after signing for 180 million euros and PSG giving him a ridiculous contract and him picking up all this ego. I don't think Arsenal should be inheriting that in a player as young as Kylian Mbappe. It means that, one, you will have to renew his contract almost every year or 2 years, but also you're going to be always in the transfer sagas of, I'm leaving, I'm staying, I want more money, I want more this and that. So again, it's better for Arsenal to steer clear of this one, unless otherwise. So there has been another story, another link, and that is Ansu Fati. And I really wanted us to talk about Ansu Fati in this, on the channel. Ansu Fati, I really, really do like Ansu Fati. He's one of the players that have not yet realized their full potential, courtesy of early injuries, courtesy of an injury-prone career at a very, very early stage. Same as Pedri. I think Pedri is just a little bit, slightly ahead. And as a person who follows Barcelona a lot, last season, I can tell you that there was nothing from Ansu Fati. Xavi didn't give him the chances, and even when he got those, little chances that were seldom coming by, he didn't actually prove to the fullest. But I kind of feel like Ansu Fati needs a real treatment. Like something we've seen with Gabriel Martinelli. Real treatment for a player to fully recover. He needs a full recovery from that knee injury. Now, he's had 2 surgeries and I think 2 treatments for the same injury in the same area on the same knee. That is catastrophic, okay? And being a left-footed player and being a very glamorous player, full of glare, his ability on the ball and his ability to become world class really depends on dribbling. It really depends on how good how good he can be on the ball and how long he can stay with the ball, right? Messi kind of style. Baka look at him as their next big star. I've seen I've seen the president at FC Barcelona again reiterating the same comments he said last summer. We are waiting for Ansu Fati. We have our star in Ansu Fati, and we will wait for him. Okay, so if Baka really think he's gonna be a star, and that's why they put a 1 billion release clause in his contract, he must be something special. Now, because Xavi is traveling at a very quick speed, he's already sorted out his midfield with Frankie De Jong, Pedri, and Gavi already taking spots. Up front, it is Dembele, Rafinha, and Robert Lewandowski. It looks like Ansu Fati will need to either be very patient with the manager or find somewhere else to play football. And that's where Arsenal come in. Like, yes, we've been linked with them. The links are not very strong, but I would take him at Arsenal. You know, what I love about Fati is, again, he has something that we don't have at Arsenal. Saka is our starman, Martinelli is a starman, Odegaard is a starman, but we don't have the entertainment. We do not have that guy that just, wriggles through players just like a hot knife through butter. 3, 4, 5, 6 players. I think Ansu Fati has the ability to do that. And his game is very, very technically adept. He can play under Mikel Arteta. He can be very, very good at following instructions. I've seen that with Xavi. He's told him, do this, this and that, and he's done it, and he's actually been very, very successful. The one thing I've seen with him, again, in the few times that he's played for Barca last season, he's a game changer. There have been so many games where Barca have been struggling, 1-0 down, 1-1, the game is locked at 2-2, the game is locked at 3-3, and he has come and provided that extra goal or that extra assist. Something that Messi would do. Something that Andres Iniesta would do, something that David Villa would do, something that Suarez would do for FC Barcelona. So I'll take Ansu Fati at Arsenal. I don't think he's at a point in his career where money is going to be a problem. I don't think Fati is looking at money right now. He's looking at getting back to the best levels he can. He's looking at becoming the best version of himself. He can become that at Arsenal, especially with the young talent around the club and all this competing talent. I really see him come in and create a huge difference. Like, he can come in and become the bright spark in that team. And you see, we're talking about, Saka, Starboy. You get Ansu Fati, that story changes. But that only depends if Arsenal can go on to make Fati less injury prone. That is one thing we've got to do. Now, Michael Olise, linked with Arsenal this morning. Chelsea, Manchester City interested. I am not surprised. Olise is a player that Arsenal have looked at for now. I think this is the third year, so consecutively, or second year consecutively, seriously. He's one of the players that have, hit the ground running in the Premier League at Crystal Palace. He's been the bright spark on the right-hand side as Wilfred Zaha has been terrorizing defenses from the left-hand side. So the advantages of signing a player like Michael Olise are really open. Premier League proven, very young, his ceiling is very high, his price would be around 50 million euros, and he's one player that really has a systematic and identical style to Bukayo Saka. Among all these three, the most realistic one is Olise. If he tells Crystal Palace, I want to go make a big move, it's time for me to get going, I don't think Palace would stand in his way. There is still 30 days to replace him. So if we took in our offer right now, if we made our offer right now, I think they would accept it. I think Palace would consider it. Maybe not just not just accepting it straightforward, but they would consider it. So why I like Olise is he will put pressure on Saka, but he will not demand the levels of Mbappe. So Mbappe is undroppable. Mbappe would become the player that plays every single game. I think Arsenal not ready for that. I don't think Mikel Arteta is ready for that. Mikel Arteta is, probably prefers rotating his players as much as he can. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not saying it's a bad deal. All I'm saying is a player like Michael Olise, after giving Saka up to £300,000 per week, a player like Michael Olise to come in, lower wages, he will settle for those 1,000 minutes per campaign. He will be excited to play for Arsenal and within the UEFA Champions League as well. It's a much better deal. But if I were to sign a forward of those three, realistically, Olise, Fati, Mbappe. Living in the dream world, Mbappe. Like, it's a no-brainer. Mbappe has reached a level where he just needs consistency for him to win the Ballon d'Or 5 times. He just needs consistency and a bigger club and trophies to win every accolade. Individually, there is to win on earth. And I would love to see him in the Premier League. Like, who doesn't want to see Mbappe in the Premier League? I don't know. But my thoughts on Kylian Mbappe, too expensive. He's a Saudi Arabian project now. And unless Madrid can come to the rescue, he might actually end up playing alongside Ruben Neves. Who never knew? Who knew actually that we would see Ruben Neves and Kylian Mbappe and Karim Benzema in the same league, competing for the same title with Ronaldo, but not in Europe. Interesting. But of course, let me know in the comment box below what you think about those three stories and those three players as well.